It's dangerous out here, man. You don't want to be out here, even in this part right here, after that sun goes down.
They're all backstabbers. They all want money. They're all backstabbers.
Look at these people across the street sleeping right there on the ground. They sleeping anywhere they can sleep. Eating out of garbage cans, man, that's not cool.
Because I'm pregnant from my cousin. I'm gonna have a baby at Christmas.
Welcome, Homeless Life Stories.
More than 9,700 people are living without a roof over their heads, right in the heart of Phoenix, the city once known as the Paradise of the West. In an area known as the Zone, a 20-acre stretch of asphalt and dust, about 1,000 people crowd together each night beneath torn tarps and makeshift tents. The heat, the grit, and the faint scent of burning plastic mix with the air of despair. In a place that once symbolized new beginnings, only melted dreams remain beneath the desert sun. Phoenix was built on a promise of opportunity to work hard, and you'll build a better life. But that promise has faded. Less than a mile separates the glowing skyline of downtown commerce from rows of tents where the forgotten now dwell. Two worlds exist side by side, and yet they never truly meet. For I was a stranger and you welcomed me. That verse, written 2,000 years ago, still reflects the conscience of humanity today. And in this city of blinding sunlight and deep shadows of poverty, the question still lingers: do we have the courage to truly see them and to welcome them as our own? The harsh reality of Phoenix's streets. When night falls, Phoenix, the city of light and sun-drenched glass towers glowing red in the sunset, becomes an entirely different world. Under the street lamps, thousands of people curl up in makeshift tents, wrapped in the leftover heat of the day and the dry breath of the desert night. As of 2025, Phoenix counts 9,734 unhoused residents, a staggering 28% increase in just 1 year. Of them, more than 53% live entirely outdoors without shelter, without power, without running water. The Zone, sprawling over 20 acres, shelters roughly 1,000 people in rows of tattered tents that look more like a forgotten neighborhood than a camp. The city spends nearly $900 million annually on housing and support programs, yet the impact rarely reaches those it's meant to serve. When one encampment is cleared, another reappears within weeks. Officials call it a cleanup cycle, but in truth, it's a cycle of despair shifting suffering from one corner to another. Inside the Zone, there are no ambulance sirens or flashing police lights, only the quiet sounds of people helping one another survive. A man shares his last bottle of water. A woman adjusts a tarp to shield her sick friend from the sun. Humanity endures even in places where hope seems to have run dry. With temperatures soaring past 110°C, many suffer burns from concrete too hot to touch. Free water stations are scarce, and shelters offer barely 2,000 beds, less than 1/5 of what's needed each night. I used to think the desert was thirsty for water, one outreach worker says softly. but it's thirstier for compassion. Elena's story mirrors thousands in Phoenix, where a single setback, a lost job, a medical bill, or a family crisis can unravel a life. The cycle is merciless, trapping people in hardship with no clear escape. Street Stories Homeless exists to share these truths, urging us to see the faces behind the tents. Phoenix is a heartbreaking contradiction, a city of opportunity and isolation coexisting on the same streets. Shimmering office towers stand just blocks away from tent-lined sidewalks, yet they belong to separate worlds that never intersect. And within that distance between light and darkness, between prosperity and survival, the American dream of Phoenix is quietly fracturing. In the next chapter, The Collapse of the American Dream, we'll dig deeper into what caused that dream to fall apart when a home, once a symbol of hope, has become a luxury few can afford. Two, the collapse of the American dream. There was a time when Phoenix was known as the promised land of the West, a place where working people could buy a home, raise a family, and retire on the strength of their own hands. But that dream is splintered, leaving thousands to slip quietly onto the streets, unsure of when they lost their place in the world. The average rent in Phoenix has now surpassed $1,800 a month, nearly double what it was in 2020, while wages have barely budged. For low-income families, it takes just one medical bill, one layoff, one missed paycheck, and they're out of the system entirely. Roughly 4,500 residents aged 55 and older are now sleeping outdoors in Phoenix. Many once held steady jobs, paid taxes, raised children, and believed that hard work would secure their future. Today, all that remains is an unfulfilled promise, the fading echo of the American dream. A city report shows that 30% of unhoused individuals struggle with mental illness or substance use, yet most have never received treatment. When housing becomes a luxury, health and peace become distant fantasies. Beneath the desert sun, Phoenix isn't lacking light, it's lacking justice. No one truly chooses homelessness, they're simply pushed beyond the borders of opportunity, into a society that has no room left for those who fall behind. Towering cranes still lift new glass towers into the sky, but every brick laid is a quiet reminder that prosperity only matters when it's shared. Next in 3, Shadows of the Night. Hidden struggles will enter the darker side of Phoenix, where the night doesn't just hide the city's pain, it hides the exploitation of its most vulnerable souls. Three, Shadows of the Night. Hidden struggles. When the city sleeps, a different Phoenix awakens, not in the light, but in the shadows along 27th Avenue and the worn-out Royal Inn Motel. Here there are no dreams, only survival. Beneath flickering neon signs and fading modal marquees, hundreds of young, unhoused people find brief refuge in cheap rooms or the corners of parking lots. Many of them are former foster youth kids who aged out of the system only to be thrown into an unforgiving reality. According to a 2024 Phoenix police report, the Royal Inn area alone recorded over 200 incidents related to exploitation, violence, and forced labor. The temp jobs promised to desperate young people often turn out to be traps, trades of dignity and safety for a few meals or a place to sleep. Among them is Jamal, a thin 19-year-old with eyes far older than his age. "I left foster care at 18, he says. "They told me to be independent, but no one told me how to survive. Jamal's done it all, hauling boxes, washing dishes, handing out flyers, but every time he's cheated or fired, he returns to the same street corner where at least someone understands how he feels. "I don't want anyone's pity," Jamal says quietly. "I just want a place where I can be myself." Behind Jamal's weary smile lie hundreds of other stories, young lives wandering through the darkness of Arizona's brightest city. In 4, a community under pressure, will turn to the other side of the story, how entire neighborhoods are struggling to coexist with the crisis, caught between compassion and exhaustion. Four, a community under pressure. Phoenix isn't just carrying the weight of its unhoused population, it's carrying the strain of an entire community tested to its moral limits. Along 17th Avenue and Washington Street, just a few blocks from downtown, small businesses are caught between empathy and fatigue. Coffee shops that once buzzed with morning crowds now stand half empty as locals avoid walking near 10 zones. Many shop owners say they spend an extra $400, $600 a month on private security and cleanup, even as customer traffic drops by nearly 40%. "I don't hate them," one shop owner admits. "I'm just afraid the city doesn't know what to do with them or with us." On the sidewalks beneath trembling palm trees under the desert sun, the housed and the unhoused share the same streets, but rarely the same reality. For some, every tent is a reminder of systemic failure. For others, it's the only thing they have left. A recent city survey found that 60% of Phoenix residents say they no longer feel safe walking near the zone at night, yet 58% also oppose forced camp sweeps without housing solutions. It's the tragedy of compassion divided, where good people don't know how to help and the suffering no longer know who still wants to help them. At one street corner, a young boy holds a cardboard sign reading, "Free water, stay safe," handing out bottles to passersby. It's a small gesture, but one that reminds everyone that amid the dust and uncertainty, the spirit of community in Phoenix hasn't died completely. In 5, Voices from the Streets will meet the people at the heart of this storm, those who once had jobs, families, and dreams, and who now share what it means to rediscover themselves in a city that's lost its way. Five, Voices from the Streets. Among the tangled rows of tents at 19th Avenue and Madison Street, Daniel sits against an old bicycle frame, his eyes fixed on the sun sinking behind the desert. He used to be a mechanic accustomed to the sound of metal, the smell of oil, and the rhythm of day and night shifts. But when the factory shut down during the pandemic, everything vanished in an instant. "I thought I'd be unemployed for just a few weeks," he says, holding a family photo worn at the edges. But those weeks turned into months, and then I had no home. Daniel is one of thousands of working-class people in Phoenix who fell out of the safety net. According to city data, 35% of the homeless once had stable jobs, and most lost their homes after a sudden loss of income. With rent averaging $1,800 per month, missing even one payment can mean losing everything. His encampment shelters over 300 people each night, yet only half have access to public restrooms or clean water. Under the blistering 104°C heat, many fall ill from exhaustion or pneumonia, while shelters can only house about 20% of those in need. But Daniel doesn't speak with anger. His voice is steady, slow, almost as if he's speaking for everyone around him. "We're not lazy. We were just left behind." He still works when he can, fixing bikes, hauling trash, collecting scrap metal. For Daniel, every day alive is another chance to prove that a person's worth isn't defined by circumstance. When volunteers arrive with food, Daniel helps distribute the meals. It's the smallest way I can remember I still matter to someone, he says. Voices like Daniel's F. a plain but powerful remind us that this crisis isn't about numbers, it's about the unfinished dreams of real people. In Part 6, Strained Systems and Short-Term Fixes, we'll dig into the heart of the issue. Why, despite nearly $1 billion in funding each year, Phoenix still hasn't found a real way to bring people like Daniel home. Six, strained systems and short-term fixes. Phoenix spends nearly $1 billion each year on homelessness programs. Yet a walk through the zone, the sprawling 20-acre encampment sheltering thousands, reveals a cruel paradox. The money keeps flowing, but the suffering continues. The Human Services campus can host around 900 people per night, but just a few blocks away, over 860 others sleep on the pavement beneath tarps, beside shopping carts, swallowed by darkness. Each morning, long lines form in hope of an open bed, but the waiting list stretches longer than faith itself. Programs like Inside Safe or Bridge Housing are praised as innovative solutions, but in reality, they're temporary patches on a deep wound. People stay in shelters for a few weeks, only to end up back on the streets because there's no job training or mental health support. Only 15% of Phoenix's homeless population has access to employment programs, while the majority survive on short-term relief. We try every day, says one social worker, but with these numbers, it feels like bailing water out of a sinking boat. The cycle repeats endlessly: job loss, eviction, illness, exclusion from the system. Meanwhile, shelter operating costs rise 25% every year, but funding for long-term housing accounts for less than 10% of the budget. These figures reveal more than inefficiency. They tell the story of a system sustained by good intentions instead of sustainable solutions. And when night falls again, the pale blue tents glow under the streetlights, a silent testimony to the painful question Phoenix still hasn't answered: are we helping people rise or merely delaying their suffering for one more night? Seven, the toll on surrounding communities. Just a few blocks from the zone, the small shops and old churches of Phoenix are learning to live within a parallel reality where compassion and fear collide every single day. During daylight, 17th Avenue still buzzes with traffic, but when sunset falls, many stores pull their shutters early. One shop owner says they spend an extra $700 a month on security and cleanup. Families nearby admit they no longer feel safe being outside after 8 p.m. City surveys show that 75% of residents within half a mile of the zone feel anxious about the situation, and 35% have considered moving away. Yet at the same time, over 60% say they would help if they knew their help would truly make a difference. Caught between these two extremes are people like Javier Morales, a father of 3 who lives near Madison Street. He has witnessed multiple encampment sweeps, where the homeless were forced to leave in the middle of the night. I understand why my neighbors are afraid, he says, but I've also seen their faces. They're tired, not dangerous. I just wish the city would stop moving them and start helping them stand up. Javier isn't alone. A small group of residents and volunteers has started organizing weekend cleanups, collecting trash, distributing water, and talking with the people living in tents. They call it the smallest way to keep kindness alive in the neighborhood. But exhaustion is real. Those who wake up each morning to clean trash, inhale the smoke of burning waste, or hear late-night arguments are victims of the same broken system. Compassion has slowly blended with bitterness. The homeless are suffering, but the surrounding community is fracturing too. The boundaries between them and us are fading, because when a city can no longer care for its most vulnerable, everyone pays the price in peace and trust and in the very soul of the community. In Part 8, Innovative Solutions for Change, we'll leave these conflicted streets to explore the glimmers of hope where technology, compassion, and political will are reshaping what recovery could look like for Phoenix. Eight, Innovative Solutions for Change. While much of Phoenix continues to struggle, small corners of the city are quietly rekindling hope. At Van Buren 20th Street, once a vacant, trash-strewn lot, now stands the city's first modular housing project built specifically for long-term homeless residents. More than 80 people have already found stable homes there. 25% are receiving therapy and job placement support. Each unit costs about $30,000, a fraction of what traditional shelters require, and every home bears a small sign that reads, "Welcome Home." Across 32nd Street, the Work for Home program employs 150 homeless individuals in public service jobs cleaning parks, painting overpasses, and caring for city trees. Each worker earns a living wage, has access to showers, and receives help with reintegration. "I used to sleep here," one participant says. "Now I clean the same street. It feels like I've reclaimed my dignity." Meanwhile, urban farming programs are sprouting across South Phoenix, where the homeless learn to grow vegetables, tend gardens, and earn supplemental income. Each harvest season, they sell produce at local markets and donate a portion to nearby shelters. These initiatives operate on just $10 million in federal funding, but experts estimate $50 million would be needed to scale them citywide. Even with limited funds, the results are striking. Over 70% of participants remain employed after 6 months, and nearly 1/3 now have permanent housing. More important than the statistics, however, is the renewed belief that change is possible. Phoenix has begun shifting from a mindset of temporary aid to one of restored dignity. But the road ahead remains long. True transformation won't come from a handful of pilot projects. It must be the sustained commitment of an entire city. In Part 9, Envisioning Phoenix's Future, we'll look further ahead. If Phoenix continues nurturing these seeds of hope, could it one day become a new symbol of compassion and opportunity for America? Nine, Envisioning Phoenix's Future. The future of Phoenix isn't being written solely in budgets or city plans. It's being written by people who still believe compassion can rebuild a city. Under a new initiative, local officials have pledged $20 million to add 1,000 more shelter beds by 2026 and expand networks of tiny homes across residential neighborhoods. Yet, with more than 9,700 people still unhoused, this is only the first step in a long journey. The city has also set a goal for 20% of new housing by 2030 to be affordable, but right now that number hovers at just 5%. Slow permitting, rising land costs, and neighborhood opposition have turned the dream of housing for all into a process as sluggish as the nightly shelter lines winding through downtown. And yet, beneath those bureaucratic figures, some movements breathe real hope. In South Phoenix, a group called Hope Builders is training unhoused residents in construction skills so they, in turn, can build homes for others. A circle of compassion is taking shape, where hands once trembling from hunger are now raising walls for someone else's safety. "We're not just building walls," one trainee says, wiping sweat from his brow under the 104-dot desert sun. "We're rebuilding trust." Projects like this are planting seeds of hope that Phoenix can become a symbol of rebirth rather than crisis. Because if everyone contributes a city through policy, businesses through opportunity, and citizens through compassion, then this city can accomplish what America has long struggled to achieve, a working model of humanity. Phoenix now stands at a crossroads in its history, where the light of empathy could finally break through the shadow of despair. And in the final chapter, a call to action, we'll face the most important question of all. Are the people of Phoenix and every viewer watching this ready to step forward and become part of that rebirth? 10. A call to action. As night falls over Phoenix, the high-rise lights still glow brilliantly, but just a few blocks away, thousands lie on cold concrete, invisible beneath the shimmer. The city has spent hundreds of millions, tried countless strategies, but the answer doesn't lie in money, it lies in the human heart. From Elena, the former librarian who now carries her hope in a plastic bag. From Marcus, the ex-construction worker teaching homeless children how to fix bicycles. And from the steady hands of the hope builders raising wooden walls one beam at a time, we see that hope hasn't vanished. It's simply waiting for someone to see, to listen, and to begin. At Homeless Life Stories, we don't just share stories, we search for the missing ones. Somewhere out there may be loved ones without names, without a trace. If you recognize a face in this video, if you've been searching for someone, or believe one of these stories might belong to someone you love, please leave a comment below. You might be the bridge that helps them find their way home. Because in the end, change doesn't begin with governments, it begins with hearts. Every share, every prayer, every small act of kindness can become a miracle, not just for them, but for all of us. Love one another as I have loved you. May Phoenix, the city of sunlight and shadows, learn to use the light of compassion to warm every lost soul. And may we, the more fortunate, never forget that every home built is a silent thank you to God. Amen.